Good afternoon and welcome to the Business of Cleaning podcast. My name is Mark Moss. I will be the guest host for today. This podcast where we discuss all topics pertaining to the commercial cleaning industry and particular ways that we can elevate the industry together. Today I have a very special guest with me, Archie Heinl. Archie is the president, founder of AA Solutions. AA Solutions has multiple products under that umbrella, particularly aligned phone systems. It's a voice over IP phone system, CallLogic, a TCPA compliant power dialer, Blitz sales software, a sales software to help automate your manual follow-up. And the product we'll be talking about specifically today is Janitorial Manager and the history around that. So the history of Janitorial Manager. Janitorial Manager is a work management software tailored for the commercial cleaning industry, built for building service contractors and in-house providers to help you, what I mentioned, streamline your cleaning operations. So everything from work orders, inspections, messaging, and a lot of other items as well, which we'll dive into today. So Archie, I'm very, very happy to have you here. Archie is, before coming to AA Solutions, he was in the banking industry with software, as a software developer, and is a graduate of the University of Toledo, Information Systems, and MBA. You're in your MBA as
Correct.
well.
Yes, that's true. Yeah.
Archie, welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me on again.
Absolutely.
Time, so.
Yeah. No, we always love having you back. So, well, for those that maybe don't know you, you're a huge Cincinnati Bengals fan.
That I am.
And we have the draft coming up next month. Who are they going to select? Any thoughts?
You know, I do get into that as well. So that is one of my favorite things is following the Bengals and part of the draft and all the way through it. So I am excited. We'll see. Protect Joe Burrow, and I think that's the main thing.
Joey B. Did you go to a lot of games this past year?
I did. Yeah, I really enjoy going to games. It's one of my passions and fun things I like to do. So
okay, oh, very good. I was just reading. I know we'll see what happens with Aaron Rodgers. He's supposedly going to go to the Jets. We'll see. But I'm a Browns fan, so I know I think we split last year in the season.
I think so. I think you're right. Yeah.
But anyways, hopefully I'm all about the Guardians now, so we'll move on to that. Now, just to kind of start it off here, Archie, for those of our viewers that don't know, AA Solutions was founded in 2003 by yourself here. You founded the company. And before that, as I mentioned, you were in the banking industry in software. Where did your passion for software and technology sort of manifest, if you think back to your life and where it began?
Yeah, it's very interesting. The way I really got started was, at first, I think even just going to college, I just remember my dad saying, you want to go into the business college and you want to go into computers, whatever that means, I think I was pegged a little bit to go into accounting. I do like logic. I do like numbers. But after taking the first accounting course, I'm like, this is not so much for me. But I do like figuring things out. I think my favorite subject was algebra and just logic and things like that. And so, I didn't really know I'd get into computers, or I guess in this case, really programming and software, until I, really got in, started taking some classes, started having some internships, and then eventually getting making some career decisions that way before starting my own business here. So,
why did you decide to start your own business? Because I know, like you mentioned, you're in the corporate world for a little bit. You got all that experience. What said, you know what, I'll do it myself? Where did that spark from?
I think it's something I kind of grew up with. My dad was always pushing, you got to do something on your own, and didn't really know. I did get a lot of experience, yes, doing online banking software development, and prior to that, more of a big corporation working in the IT space. But it was one of those things where, once I got into it, I really started to enjoy software, and from there, I did want to own my own business too. I just saw it was just a part of me. I guess it's kind of that entrepreneurial type of mindset, and it just that made all the sense to me, and so I just kind of went from there.
Sure. Now, when you jumped into AA Solutions and founded the company, Janitorial Manager, I know that started in 2014. What sort of projects, maybe custom or products, were under that umbrella before JM came along?
So, originally when I first started the company, AA Solutions, we were building custom software solutions. So, really figuring out what the customers need and building something specific and custom to them. The challenge a little bit with that is you're constantly starting something new, which can be, it is exciting. We still do custom software projects today, but it's one of those where you're kind of jumping from project to project a little bit. So I really wanted to get something that was a little bit more recurring on top of that as well. And that's kind of how we got into the SaaS space, so software as a service. So the first one really being Blitz sales software, which is one in which is more or less kind of a sales automation software, and it really took off within the insurance space. But it was kind of from there, adding SaaS products, and that's what really led into Janitorial Manager a little bit, was taking our Blitz software to a BSCAI conference. So I was in front of building service contractors.
Okay.
And I have, clients that are using our Blitz software that are cleaning companies, and they thought, even a large local and even friend of mine that owned a large corporate commercial cleaning company, he suggested going to this event. And from there, that's kind of really where it took off. I got exposed to the industry and saw that certainly technology was something that was a little behind the times, or a lot behind the times, really, and saw some needs there, and was approached by a person in the space that was part of a Troy Hopkins is his name, and he kind of connected me, and we got involved in terms of seeing what is needed within the space. He brought some different things to me, and we kind of worked from there, and later built Janitorial Manager, which is what it is today. So
you kind of had a Wayne Gretzky moment there. It's like you say, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, and you took a shot there to attend that meeting.
Right. So, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's how it played out.
Did you ever think you'd be in commercial cleaning industry? Did you ever think that was in your future plans?
I didn't really know where things were going. I think sometimes when you build certain products, and when we were building Blitz, it was kind of like, oh, this is something that can be built for anyone, almost any industry, really. And what I found was a little bit more effective to be a little bit more niched and figure out things that are specific to a particular industry and take off from there. And that's what we've really learned within the janitorial space, what the challenges are that are faced between not only commercial cleaning companies, but we work with a lot of in-house providers, universities, casinos, a lot of those, in just understanding what their challenges are day to day, and learning those and turning those into software, to make things more efficient for them.
Yeah. What were the main challenges that you saw back then when you went to that conference, or what did they tell you, if you can think back? Maybe there was certain solutions they were using at the time. What did you see as from their feedback?
Yeah, just saw that there was the lack of, I guess, a system for which you can keep track of a lot of the different things that are going on day to day. There was time tracking, where you're actually tracking people's time. There's a lot of different time tracking systems that are available that are, sometimes generic or hooked with a payroll system. We saw that. We saw some different things where you can do some quality checks or inspections. There's those types of things, but not a system that really was robust enough to do not only those things, but many others, in order to be a little bit more comprehensive for different companies and organizations.
How, in terms of what they were using, different programs, how much manual work were they doing were they using many different systems? Was it like all over the place for these companies?
It really was. And if you look at what even our mission is for AA Solutions, a lot of it is trying to turn manual activities into automation. So you see that, even with our Blitz SaaS product, it's something where we're taking some of the manual things you might be doing today. Maybe it's composing a manual email. Maybe it's composing or scheduling a follow-up for yourself. All those types of things in that particular program, we wanted to automate. Saw a similar thing within the janitorial space. There's a lot of manual things going on, whether it's actual paper and pencil to document people's work, to give task lists, to be able to track not only employees, but to track work activities, to sign off on jobs, to track inventory, all those types of things. There was so much manual manual activities that were going on. We wanted to help automate things and be able to easily not only automate, but be able to report on that information more easily.
Sure. So when you were, getting ready to launch the product in 2014, where did you start first in terms of, enhancements or developments? And, you recognize maybe this is where we need to start to do some of that automation, like you mentioned. What were some of the critical needs that you started with the software to bring that to the customers?
Right from the beginning, it was more or less trying to be able to, we noticed, especially when it looked at commercial cleaning companies, they might be doing a lot of work for a particular company. They might be doing a ton of cleaning. They might be making a good amount of revenue on it.
Sure.
But the challenge a little bit there is, are they profitable? Is a particular job actually profitable? You might be making money, but a lot of it you might be losing on the back door, which, if you're not tracking your employees properly, your labor costs can get out of control. You might have some scenarios where from even an inventory perspective with supplies and things like that, where certain supplies that supply costs might be way up, that you don't really understand those things. So you don't have any visibility to it. And so part of that was what type of controls can be put in around labor, what type of controls can be put in around supplies, things like that. Being able to even understand the work that you're doing outside of the daily routine as well. A lot of work orders, so there's a work order component within Janitorial Manager. How do you keep track of those other jobs, and are those other jobs profitable? And so a lot of it, it's got to come together, and that's what we're seeing within the industry is there was a lot of need for a system that can actually put everything together and not just have one piece over here, one piece live over there, and nothing actually shows a whole picture to you. Sure. And that's where we wanted to start, is put in those foundational pieces so that they can actually see what actually is going on and where things may or may be working.
When you were talking to potential customers about Janitorial Manager, the product, how did they perceive what you're bringing to them as far as a solution? I know some people they could be afraid of technology, or maybe they don't have the time or resources. What were some of the feedback you were getting from prospects, particularly about implementing a solution like this? I mean, were they totally, a lot of them, on the fence of it, or were there others that embraced it?
I think certainly, some of the different challenges I've seen with maybe some of the clients or potential, prospects and things that we look at, part of it is really having business processes. And sometimes, you might have a smaller commercial cleaning company and you might not have those processes, and at that time you don't maybe sometimes always value those types of things, and it's hard to say, do I want to pay $500 a month for a system? Well, that looks like a high figure, when in actuality you might be small and $500 might be perhaps a lot to you. It's going to work wonders on the back end. So as I mentioned before, whether it be around something, around the, tracking people's time. Yeah. I think there's pushback sometimes on the employees where they don't want to be tracked or they don't want to put in their time. Well, what we try to tell, for example, the cleaning company owner or the operator is the fact that if those things aren't done, then that's going to be a lot more work on your back
end.
Right,
big picture, right.
And so you got to kind of think in that business mindset a bit, that these things got to be implemented in order for me to be able to hit things that, actually be able to take advantage of things on the back end and free up your time. As a business owner, as an operator, if you're doing those manual activities and manual activities on the back end, that is just wasting your time. It's going to hurt you scaling. It's going to hurt your operations. It's going to really take a lot of, even your free time.
Right,
And so those things you have to look at. And that's certainly on the commercial cleaning side. Now, when we look at the in-house providers, for example, they really want to be able to, again, look at maybe in sometimes more specifics. Maybe they want to deep dive a little bit further in between tasks and how, if you want to get really down to the task level, how long certain things should take. How long should it take to mop this floor? It's this type of service. How long should it take to, if you're using a particular piece of equipment, how long will that take? What are the benefits of using equipment versus not using equipment? Tracking people's time in between tasks and jobs. And so you can get real specific with our program, or you can be a bit more high level. But at the end of the day, you want to automate as much as you can and try to think out of that lens. So not just get stuck with the, we've been doing it this way for quite some time. I'm good with paper and pencil, or maybe it's a particular program that has this one piece, but I can't visualize, and it's not connecting all these other pieces for me and for my business. And so that's what we're out there to address with this software to help the industry, whether it be, again, commercial cleaning company or, these in-house providers that have their own set of challenges.
Sure. And you're continuously learning every day, I'm sure, as you talk to customers and clients. Who are some people who, maybe if you're willing to share, who have shared maybe feedback of how to improve the software that you've enhanced as you've learned more about the industry? Any of those stories or examples?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's been the beauty of Janitorial Manager is not only do we have a number of customers nationally, but we're even international. And so what's nice is that we're going to be able to see, we're able to bring best practices. We're able to learn all the different, the different ways in which the system can be used. So there's different processes that different businesses are using. We're able to take that piece and actually wrap some, automation, if you will, around it, or ways in which to make things a lot more efficient. And then that's just something within the program then that can be used by other clients, and it can be a vital part of the program. So we've even done certain things around our QR code functionality, for example, that can really bring things to life as it relates to not only, again, how long tasks take, but even times between tasks and things like that can be a real eye opener, and can literally save companies, thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars we've seen. So some really cool stories that we've had.
Do you think that that's the biggest challenge facing the commercial cleaning industry, the lack of control over their organization as a business owner? I know COVID-19 has definitely thrown different challenges at whether it's BSCs or in-house providers. What are some of the other challenges that you've maybe seen since, or any insight that you can give there, that maybe how Janitorial Manager is helping in addition to the control?
Yeah, certainly. I think it's one in which there are a number of different components to Janitorial Manager. If we're talking specific things, such as it could even be around our time tracking, and we're trying to solve a labor cost issue. And, how have we done that? Well, what are the different things that we've done? Certainly, we've got an app that gives the ability to track and make sure that people are on site, that they have a checklist of these are the things that they need to do.
Yeah.
And it really helps. Even we know that this industry has a lot of turnover. Well, think about the fact that if you have everything within this app, the ability to clock in, the ability to know what to do, it takes a lot of the training time out of it.
Sure.
And that can be a huge thing. It also, you're going to have those different controls to where we even have a client that he's seen as an air traffic control man, if you will. And he's one in which he can sit back and see everything that's going on across his company very easily, all from our our system.
Yeah.
And so he can see it from the app, or he can even see it from within the website to really be able to look and are my people, have they shown up?
Right. Yeah.
Have they not? Do they know what to do? If they have shown up, there's certain times where people are calling off. How do you manage that situation? All those types of things are ways in which our app brings that to life. They can see what's going on. They can react. They can easily be a lot more agile, and it's not you're not, kind of running with your head cut off type of scenario.
So where did that start from? You guys, obviously now, for those of the viewers that don't know, I was an intern on Janitorial Manager back in 2017. And at that time, it was a web-based. Then a couple of years later, you rolled out JM Connect, the mobile app. Where did that all start from? And you said, mobile, we got to roll out the mobile app. How did that kind of manifest?
Yeah, the way it worked is, we really wanted to make it easy on the front end and give that the ability for these companies to be able to run their business so much more efficiently.
Right.
And so part of that is, with an app, it gives the ability on the front end user. We got to make that very easy, which we've done. We've made things to where we can just have as simple as can be in terms of what icons are needed within our app that allows the employee to do their work. So they can get there, they can clock in, as I mentioned, they can see a checklist of things that they need to do. They can make supply requests right from the app. They can do out of the norm work orders. And what's neat about the app is there's the ability to have those communications. So as people get trained on certain locations, or even if it's an in-house provider, you're able to, even whether it's a particular area within the location or the location itself, be able to share communications.
And that's a big problem, right? The communication.
Communications is a big thing, and being able to share before and after pictures, because again, this is a thing where he said, she said, this takes kind of that out of it. So you're going to have pictures before the work is done, after the work is done, any communications in there in terms of how to do something. We have instructional media in terms of being able to watch a video of how to do something. You have the ability to also, whether it be even a picture think about a picture, coming into a location and saying a picture that has maybe a circle around this particular location or this particular area that says do this or do that, and actually make it very easy on the front end there. And we even have controls to where you're being able to communicate, even if your frontline worker speaks a different language. You can talk from English to Spanish, for example, or a number of different languages to be able to translate. And so being able to easily communicate and know what's going on at all times is big. And so back to your question, the app gives that ability to be able to run your business anywhere.
How many different languages does JM offer currently?
Currently today, we have around 10 that are built in, and then we add them very easily. We can really support almost any language that comes to us. So we're continuing to expand as we continue to grow. Not only, like I said, nationally, but internationally, we continue to add languages to it very easily. So,
what's your favorite feature of Janitorial Manager? Maybe you've had that you've seen most beneficial, and you maybe decide, this is the one that's really cool, or maybe one that you developed or had a hand in helping to develop. Which feature stands out to you the most? Is maybe the most that stands out the most to you?
I really enjoy a lot of these different components of the software. I really get excited about really about all of them as you kind of deep dive into each one. Certainly, there's the likes of facial recognition for clocking in and clocking out. That's pretty neat, where you have the ability to verify that somebody's there, that it's the right person that's there. We have heard some different horror stories and things like that, and so that kind of closes that gap in terms of from a security perspective. But it's neat to be able to do that. The ability, there's a lot of things around, certainly around the timekeeping.
What are some of those horror stories that you've heard? Anything that stands out to you?
We've heard some funny ones. Yeah, I mean, it's maybe there's somebody that's had maybe a few too many cocktails and they've sent their son or somebody else to the location to do the work, and next thing you know, you've got somebody in the building that shouldn't be in the building, and that can be a big
it's a legal
big problem.
It's a legal
Yes.
issue.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. Let's talk about yourself here for a moment. AA Solutions, right? So Janitorial Manager, and there's multiple other solutions, custom projects that you've done. How do you approach innovation and creativity in your day-to-day, and how do you generate new ideas, whether it's for enhancement for JM, or where does this all kind of manifest for you?
Yeah, it's a good question, and it's really I think a big part of what I enjoy doing, and I think it's one of my strengths, I would say,
Sure.
is just around listening. And so I like to listen to the customer or prospect, what have it, in terms of what is their challenge.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as technology is concerned, we can find a way to make it work. I mean, and things are continuously changing to make things more easily developed, or you can find ways to make things happen. But it's really comes down to understanding the problem and the challenge that's out there, and then just finding an easy way to or make it easy on the front end there. So I would say it's really just listening. It's really listening to the problem and figuring out how to. A lot of times, again, it's something typically manual, or it's something that's not being captured properly. How can we capture that?
Right.
How can we automate that? How can we bring that visible to where it just takes a lot of the steps out of it? And when those things happen, not only can it allows businesses to scale because they're saving on cost, but it eliminates manual activities. It helps them reallocate people. Maybe this isn't a good use of that person's time. Well, if they didn't have to do this, they could be selling more. They could be doing a different job or helping in another area. Or if it's even an owner or something like that, maybe it takes a lot of pressure off of them because they don't have to be running around trying to figure things out. All that kind of comes to life. So,
what would you say to someone who, maybe they need to, maybe they're not the decision maker in their cleaning company, and they're a manager, and they see the value in it, whether it's for an in-house provider or building service contract, and they need to pitch this to the owner and say, hey, this is the solution we need for our business. What would you say to them who may have a little barriers convincing to operate or implement a solution like that? What would you say to someone who is struggling to maybe convince some of those higher stakeholders to implement a solution like JM?
I think part of that is they need to see kind of results.
Sure.
And so part of that is really, we certainly have a number of stories that we can share in terms of how it's helped businesses grow, how it's helped businesses save a ton of money. Mm-hmm. And it's really comes down to that business owner and the ability to be able to change and not be intimidated, certainly by technology. I think in this space, that's been a bit of the case. Technology has been a thing that has just been behind the times in this particular industry, and they can see now a lot of times how much this can be a huge benefit to, again, allow them to perhaps scale or major cost savings. So even if it's a smaller client or a big client, they can reap major benefits with this program. Mm-hmm. On the bottom line.
How do you see technology? Maybe now technology implementing the commercial cleaning industry is obviously different than what it was 10 years ago. You talk about the mobile app, you talk about all the enhancements to JM. I mean, there's even autonomous robots now I've seen that'll clean out messes, and I've seen grocery stores have them. And I think one in Virginia actually had it. I saw it in an article. What's the next big thing you think coming to the commercial cleaning space from a technological aspect, or maybe even see how you see it changing in, say, 2030, from 2023 to 2030?
You hear a lot of different things. There are, as you said, there's robots out there that are, certainly with this Chat GPT and the open AI related technology that's there. I think that's a major game changer.
Are you a ChatGPT user? Do you embrace it, or are you it's the Terminator over here?
I think you certainly have to embrace it. I
Sure.
think there's certainly some major benefits of the technology, and there's some things that there certainly can be negatives out of anything, but you have to be able to adapt.
Sure.
And that's where you got to go, I think, really, for any industry and just technology in general. You got to be ready to adapt, because things are changing frequently. And
right.
I think we have to continue to look at that. If you look at a Chat GPT, how can we further utilize that? We do have plans to further utilize that technology. Yeah. And so we're excited to do that, but we're going to adapt, and I think that's where the industry needs to continue to think about how can we use technology to help them in a lot of different ways. And
how could you see AI getting more involved in the commercial cleaning industry, making more of an impact?
I certainly can. I think there's a lot of ways for which it can, and I'm excited for us to implement things to utilize that technology as well.
So I know you travel a lot. I know you go to different trade shows at times, whether it's the ISSA show every year or different building service contractor events. Where have you traveled to, in your course of your career with Janitorial Manager, and bringing that solution to potential, either current customers or potential customers? Where have some of your travels been?
We really travel quite a bit, to a lot of different areas of the country. We're kind of all over the place, which is fun and exciting, and we do even webinars that are many miles away. So we're doing things. I think we did a webinar not too long ago for Australia. Mm-hmm. We have some clients there. We'll travel to really anywhere where it needs to be. We certainly go to Canada quite a bit as well. But we're all over, certainly, the United States with different events and different opportunities for us to learn and grow and be a part of.
Any crazy travel stories or any funny stories that stand out to you in your career with JM?
Funny stories, I think ISSA is always a fun event to go to. There's a lot of different people in the industry. You'll see a lot of different. I think a lot of funny things there, whether it be different mascots or different, funny things around, whether it be mascots or different things within a booth that relate to cleaning, and it's a fun event.
No, that's cool. And we're going to ISSA, right? Janitorial Manager will be there?
Yes, yeah, we'll be there again.
And when is that again? That's
towards the end of the year. I believe it's the November timeframe, so we're somewhere in that timeframe. So we're excited to be there again.
Are there any sneak previews you can give to our listeners about what's coming to JM? Any little teasers as we look forward to the rest of this year?
We've got a lot of different things planned that can be taken advantage of, whether it be a building service contractor or in-house providers. We have some different things that we do have a close launch here we have some clients beta testing right now, our equipment tracking piece. So that's kind of a newer function to our program. It's something that we've been working on for quite some time, and probably for over a year. And we're in a point where we're really ready to launch some different things related to the equipment tracking. So we're excited to do that. That'll include different things around QR codes and scanning devices and tracking and all those types of things. And we've got a lot of other things planned with the program as far as invoicing and some other accounting related functions. So we got a lot of things, a lot of plans, and we're excited to continue to grow the product.
And Archie, how do our listeners find out more about Janitorial Manager? They would like to.
Yes, feel free to come out to janitorialmanager.com. We certainly have a lot of resources there, and we also have this podcast, which is another value add as you get out there and you can poke around. But we have a number of videos out there. We even have you'll notice on our website we do have a 3D walkthrough that kind of shows more about the product. So I suggest clicking on that and going into how the system is used and how the employee uses it from there. And it's exciting, but we definitely do other webinars and things like that too, informationally. So cool. Definitely come out and check us out.
So Archie, thank you for taking the time. Always a pleasure. And thank you to our listeners. Be sure to subscribe to the Business Cleaning Podcast on your favorite platform. We're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts as well. Stay tuned for next month. We'll look forward to releasing the April episode of the Business of Cleaning. This has been Mark Moss, your guest host for March. So long, everybody.